With the coronavirus outbreak forcing Ghanaian bars and other event centers to shut down, operators in the food and beverage sector may have to contend with newer challenges to poor demand and slow production. How is the association dealing with this challenges posed by the outbreak? I have with me the Executive General Secretary of Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Mr. Sam Agui, to help us with the discussion. Welcome to BizTrends Show. My name is Enyonam. The show is proudly sponsored by NPRA Data Bank, Leap Tomato Paste, J&G Insurance Brokers.
Tomato paste when I would eat, I don't want to leave tomato paste in Ghana. Ah!
Aha! This is what I call Ediane.
Secret na LEAP, leap. Someone named a leap tomato paste. It was superb and palatable taste. Na esmo biaso. There were large and small sizes for chop bars, restaurants, and FMF.
For bulk purchase, contact 033-2095-314 or 050-141085.
Mr. Agui, thanks for joining me on BizTrends.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Right, so let's first of all get to understand and know what the Food and Beverages Association is about.
Well, the association is made up of importers, that's beverage and food importers, and also some industries within the country. Then we also have some of the supermarkets or the retail wings also as part of it. So it's a three-tier association made up of all these institutions. And what we seek to do is to seek to the benefits of the industry or the industry players, the importers of the food and beverage sector, and then also supermarkets and retailers.
When was it formed?
Well, the association itself was it came into play since 2003, and along the line it went on the quiet, and then it was revamped again in 2007.
How devastating is it to work during this outbreak for your members?
When the outbreak came itself, when you could remember when the whole country, or let me say Greater Accra, was shut down because of the COVID-19. Now, amidst of that, what happened was that certain interventions needed to be taken, which hasn't changed till now. I.e. being some of them having to reduce the floor workers to ensure that the social distances are well observed, and then others to partially laid off some staff to stay at home until such a time that the situation comes under control. But unfortunately, others will have to lose their job because of what has happened. And production itself is not in full capacity. And we also envisage that there's going to be some further cuts of employees because of what we are foreseeing if the COVID doesn't go down, or we don't find an antidote to this remedy. Otherwise, what will happen is that most people are going to lose their job because of the high input of finances that these industries and importers will have to cough up to ensure that they stay in business. And if you go to the industrial sector, to what is happening there, do production, some of those who don't have the fully automated system will then have to look at how best they can mitigate those losses. Because you cannot have the same personnel sitting at place working. Either you have to reschedule and have a shift system, or you look at some of them, those who have partially laid off staff, hoping that they will recall them. So it's a mix of challenges that we are dealing with.
Many sectors have come up with their personal demands or things they think if government does, it would help ease the pressure. What has been your demand? The Food and Beverage Association.
Yes, our demand has been government should look at the kind of investment that these facilities or the supermarkets and then the shopping malls, for instance, and then the industries have taken. Whatever step that they have taken goes with finances, and it's taking a big toll. So if there is any package that government is giving, like the stimulus package was announced for the SMEs and some retailers, we expect that this thing should be cut across. But when the announcement was made, we're all clear that government said this is for this particular sector of the economy. And therefore, what about the large employers and those large taxpayers? We also need some stimulus packages.
Which is what, if I may?
Yes, you need to give, because you cannot give us finances, but what you can do is government to look at tax reliefs by, if I have spent so much, if it comes to COVID expenses, is government going to waive those taxes, or are they going to give us some financial support, or are they going to give us further logistics if it comes to PPEs to support what we are already doing? It is these challenges that has made some of these institutions laid off staff. Some of them too, they've laid off some workers and they are still paying them because they don't want them to stay at home without having any income.
Have you had to sit around the table with the what ministries do your sector works with?
Well, our sector, the food and beverages, cuts across all the ministries.
Okay, so have you had
the most important ministry that perhaps we'll be looking at is the Ministry of Finance, if it comes to issues like tax reliefs and all that. The Finance Ministry and then the GI, that's the Ghana Revenue Authority. Since they are under the Finance Ministry, that is where our grievance or our request will go to. So that is how we are going to do. As I'm speaking to you now, we have some issues that we are going to put forward come next week by somewhere next week.
Does your current production and revenue generation reconcile with your expenditure?
For now, let me say most are doing more expensive than they are making more profit. Some of the businesses are struggling to stay in business just because they really don't want to shut down until the COVID goes up, because we don't know when this COVID thing will be over. So we are living with it as businesses. Production is going on, but just that you are not having the full capacity because you don't have your team fully in place. So that is where the challenges are. So if it comes to what they are putting in place to ensure that they don't run at a loss, then eventually you may have to also reconsider either your cost production or the cost of your products is going to go up, or you need to resize your staff base to ensure that you still can keep some in place to ensure that they can work and then business can also continue. It's only when government comes up with reliefs, and the questions that we have asked is that if we are still paying the workers to be in employment, what is government also giving for them to ensure that they can continue to sustain such a
That's a big question right there. You're still watching Biztrends TV show. My name is Enyonam. Today on my set is the Executive General Secretary for the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Mr. Sam Agri. I'm going for a quick break. I'll be right back. Stay with me.
When you've worked hard for your money, you want to make sure you're investing it with the right company. And when you need your money, it will be there for you. As Ghana's leading investment bank, DataBank has been helping Ghanaians achieve financial independence since 1990. At DataBank, you can purchase mutual funds, treasury bills, or shares. We're one of Ghana's leading pension and provident fund managers.
Backed by our world-class research team, DataBank has a proven track record of strong performance and good corporate governance. Knowing where to invest is key. Invest wisely, invest with DataBank.
Welcome back from now to commercial break. It's still BizTrends TV show. Ms. Agri, are there any specific challenge situation that the association is dealing with as of these trying times, and what are they?
Yes, we have. So the issues are enormous. Of late, what has also come to add up to the situation is that most of the imports that we have are not being cleared on time. And then you waste money on demurrage through no fault of yours. And if you look at what is happening now, we're still at a loss as to which way we should go, whom to talk to, because we talk and nobody listens.
No, but you have to talk to GRA, the Ministry of Trade is there.
Yes.
The food forwarders are also there.
Yes. You see, we have, in conjunction with other stakeholders, speaking to government from different backgrounds or different avenues. And the challenges that we have as an association, today as I'm speaking to you, if you go to the ports, the clearing system has been turned upside down. Why? Because a new system has been introduced, which is called the Unipass.
Yeah.
Now we have the ICOMs in synchronizing with the Unipass to ensure that we have the same flawless system that we used to have with GCNet. Now GCNet is no more. And before this program could come on board, several warnings have been sent, precautions have been advised with government to ensure that the stakeholders or the importers do not face challenges, especially if it comes to raw materials and whatever that is coming into the system. So basically it's all about imports and clearing at the ports with the links with customs and all that. Unfortunately, when this Unipass came into force, challenges that we had, delays in clearing of our goods, import cost has also gone up, and challenges also coming from the Ghana Standards Authority if it comes to you registering your product with the FDA. And once you've gone through FDA processes and registered your products, Ghana Standards also tells you come and register your product with them, register your business with them at a highly exorbitant fee.
But that has been the system you have lived with over the years.
Yes, but you
so
see,
why should there be a new challenge?
we have said several times that the focus of FDA should be with imports of food products. Sometimes that has to do with cosmetics, drugs and all that, because their activity is quite unique and different from what the Ghana Standard does. Ghana Standards, what should be their mandate? They also assume the mandate of the FDA.
Do I get it that you're trying to
it has to be, yes, the two of them has to be
Food and Drugs Board and Ghana Standard
the two of them has to be decoupled.
Okay.
We cannot have two institutions doing the same time, and then we, the importers of business entities, will have to pay for.
Sat down with them?
We've said several times, from the previous administration even to now. And
they still don't find whatever suggestions you're making valid enough to adjust to that?
They are very valid suggestions and even proposals that we have put forward for them to look at. When we appeared before Parliament, we made these suggestions to them. That and then the Honorable Sorogo, he made that promise that they were going to see to it that the operations of the Ghana Standards are redefined for them to be where they are. And then FDA will also do their job as it is. But unfortunately, for us as industry players and also importers, be it cosmetics or pharmaceutical or whatever, we see it as a parallel job, because what FDA is doing, Ghana Standard is also demanding the same thing. If you paid 1 cedi to FDA, they also demand you pay 1 cedi to them. And we can't see why, or we can't understand why these two institutions will be there for us to be paying so much. The operations is becoming more, let me put it the other way, it's becoming more of a nuisance.
Okay.
Where you have to pay so much to clear one container.
Okay.
You see, because if you bring in goods worth about maybe 30,000 worth of container, by the time you finish paying your debt, you paid about twice
and
the
that's
cost
how
of
come
that product.
consumers are the ones who suffer at the end of it.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly
So
the
one
point.
thing I also want to ask is, you know, this the tax stamp
Yes.
they need to affect on your product before selling. Before COVID, we all know it was okay for you to go about doing that. Now, during this time, how are you guys handling that?
Yes, with the tax stamp issue, perhaps we need to go back to GRA and look at it again. When we were advocating for a digital system to run, it wasn't for anything that we were saying, because it's more efficient than using the manual system.
Okay.
Now people have, industries have invested so much in the manual system.
Right.
Now,
And that's a time like this.
yes,
Which demands
COVID
digital
has come in. We have others who are using the manual or the manual affixing of the stamp by using the hand. So we are saying that the very study that I've taken, and then a very careful study that I have done, going around the supermarkets and some of the other places, the main markets and all that, to see how the stamps has been affixed. Perhaps we need to reconsider where we put the stamps. We can fix the stamp anywhere around the product, so that we don't necessarily put it on at the tip of the product where you have to use your hand in doing that. Because if you are using the machine, it's different. If you are using the hand applicator, it's different. But in some places, they are using their bare hands.
So I guess
in
this is
fixing
posing a
those
lot of challenge.
It's a big challenge in this time of COVID
I
challenges.
learned you work also hand in hand with GOTA and other trade organizations. Do you have a one voice?
For now, I would say yes. On the other side, I would say no.
Why no?
I would say no because, you see, date back 5 years ago, there was nothing that government would do that would not consult the stakeholders. And our voice was very critical. Our input was very critical to the government then, to ensure that whatever that they are bringing in, the trade unions will all agree before. Where they refuse to do that, we come together, we take one action to force government to go back to do the right thing. And we succeeded in doing that.
What has changed?
Now, what has changed? What
now?
has changed now? I'm sure some of my colleagues or the heads of those other associations like the AGI, the GOTA, freight forwarders, and then the Importers and Exporters Association, and then the custom brokers and all that. Perhaps some of them may disagree. Others will also find it useful for what I'm saying, that we have not been what we used to be. And we are all fighting from different angles. And once we do that,
are you now seeking personal interest instead of an interest for?
Well, it depends on what everyone is looking at. But for me, whatever that cuts across the system is the same thing that is affecting trade unions. And therefore, it's very, very important that we always have to come together to stand on our grounds to ensure that what will not inure to your benefits definitely will not inure to the benefit of other association members. So therefore, whatever government policy that is being introduced, we need to scrutinize that together, come together and ensure that that policy will not affect anyone if it comes to business. Because when we are not doing that and we have to go fighting it on our own and then getting concessions for ourselves, and we say all that we have to say for government to maybe be in line with government. We need not to be in the pocket of government. We need to stand alone as an individual entities or as unique entities.
To force the government to do the right thing.
To do the right thing. That is why unions are formed. And if the unions are not working, then some of them will have to go in bed with government. It becomes a problem.
Right. This is BizTrends TV Show. My name is Enyonam, and my guest is Mr. Sam Agri. He's the Executive General Secretary for Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. Up next is the investment tidbit brought to you by DataBank. Take a quick look at that. I'll be right back to wrap up the conversation. Stay with me.
So, most Ghanaians have never really believed that global events can actually have an impact on Ghana's economy. And you probably can't blame them, especially when it's a pandemic like this, because we've had SARS, we've had H1N1, which was in Asia and never really affected us here. Even Ebola, which was very close home, didn't quite, impact Ghana. I think there was only one known case that we had in Ghana. So you may not be able to blame them. But today, I think things have changed and everybody is realizing that global events really do impact us here, and we are no more isolated, and it is really a global village. At the beginning of the year, the government had projected a GDP growth rate of 6.8%, budget deficit of 4.7%, and all the macroeconomic indicators were looking really good. I mean, inflation was targeted at 8% plus or minus 2%, and so things were looking good. Even at the stock exchange, there was a lot of bullish predictions that came up. Then COVID arrived and things have changed. As we can see, the government is being forced to bring in stimulus packages to try and keep the country running and keep the economy going. And we've seen that they've had to bring in social measures, and even to the extent that there's discussion on suspending or partially repealing the 0% funding from the central bank. So the central bank can help with bringing the economy back to its feet, or at least keeping the country going. What is important, and what I tend to agree with the government, is that we can always fix an economy. We know how to fix an economy, but we cannot fix a human being when a human being is gone. So the most important thing is to keep the population safe and healthy. And once that happens, the economy is bound to bounce back.
Hi, my name is Stella Ikuya-Korte, an Assistant Manager of the Corporate Affairs Unit with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. This week on Pensions Brief, we are going to discuss the different kinds of complaint processes available to the contributor. First, the contributor will have to contact the service providers at their level if they have any issues with their contributions. And it could be the trustees, the custodians, or the fund managers. Secondly, if the contributor is not satisfied, he can then petition the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. And if his complaint is not resolved at the directorate level, it is escalated to the Pensions Adjudication Committee. Lastly, if the contributor is still not satisfied, then the only place for redress will be the court. For further inquiries, kindly contact the National Pensions Regulatory Authority on 0302 9686 92 or 3. Our toll-free number is 0800 766 000. And if you want to contact us via email, kindly contact us on info@npra.gov.gh.
Right, so there you have it. Gone by with the investment tips brought to you by DataBank. They are calling on all Ghanaians. If you're working for yourself, working for somebody, no matter how much you earn at the end of the month, remember to start savings for your future. And of course, NPRA is encouraging you that it's mandatory for you to pay your monthly contributions towards a safe and comfortable retirement age, and Leap Tomato Paste. All my women and of course the bachelors out there, if you're cooking, I recommend Leap Tomato Paste for you. J&G Insurance Brokers is inviting all of you. If you need a business consultancy advice, walk to J&G Insurance Brokers. And of course, if you're going to take a policy, I recommend that you talk to Dr. Enyonam first to give you the best insurance policy. Ms. Agri, as an association, what other ways do you think you can employ to stay in business in this time or even after this time?
Yes, as for staying in business, it all depends on the relationship between the investor and government.
Okay.
Now, if the cost of doing business becomes so high, you tend to be discouraged. Now, we want to see Ghana as a hub, that industry will grow, and those doing import will then tend to export more than importing. If we are importing, then it should be raw materials that perhaps we don't have in the country. So our targets as an association, because we have most of our members reopening more facilities when it comes to this one D1F in some places. Like when you go outside Accra, some of them has tied up with government and they've opened up other branches of their industries, and it's working well, and that is how we want to see.
Okay.
So if it comes to those areas, then obviously you also expect that government will give you some reliefs if it comes to tax incentives.
Okay.
Already what we have in the system, we will say, well, we will allow government for certain interventions that they've done over the years or the past 2 years to ensure that businesses grow and all that. But we need to do more.
Okay.
We need to do more. Unfortunately, what we are seeing, we are all tying our problem or the downgrades or the downward trend to the COVID-19.
Right.
And we should have an intervention. Those interventions will be one that will benefit industry, will benefit the importers, because when the importers are not there, industries are not there. If the importers are not, the consumers are not there, the importers will not be there. And the sense that they are bringing in, if we are producing those things here, I would tell you nobody will go out there.
Would you say that the Food and the Beverage Association of Ghana have lived up to expectations?
We have, but we have a tall order before us, and we seek to ensure that we will give what industry is looking at, what the importers, what they are looking at, and then the external investors. Actually, most of the investors out there have been talking to us as to how they can come in. We had about 30 industries who wanted to come and open up in Ghana here. Unfortunately, when this COVID came, things changed. We have Portuguese companies coming into Ghana very soon when these things goes down. And we assure government that we'll work with them to ensure whatever that we need to do to ensure that government also plays its role and we also play our role. We'll work with governments. We are not political agencies. We work as an independent agency to ensure that the industry players get their benefits that they're supposed to get. That is all that we do. And then let me add up with the challenges at the port. If you are a country and you are losing as much as $30 million a day because of an intervention that we brought in, and it's not working well, and we are losing such money, I think this should be the concern of government to ensure that the right thing is done. Because for 2 weeks, importers are not able to clear goods the way it's supposed to be. We are using the manual system, which we have said we are no more going back to manual system. But we are using
so the purpose of digitalization has been defeated.
It's being defeated if we don't take the necessary steps to ensure that we go back to what has to be done. Because what is happening tells you that there's gross incompetence if it comes to
on the part of who?
If it comes to the customs and whoever is responsible for this Unipass thing.
But just yesterday, wasn't it some few days ago, I heard that Deputy Trade Minister, our time is Abdul, saying that when GCNet came into the system, it also went through this, problem.
And they perfected the system.
Exactly. So
now, if Unipass is coming in What you need to do is to work side by side to ensure that you perfect the Unipass before you ask these people to go
move away.
You see, but you don't shut them down when you know your system is not perfect. So the challenges that we are facing at the port, if we don't take the immediate steps to remedy them, then obviously what is going to happen is that more goods will leave the port without even paying the necessary duties.
I see.
And it's happening. So they should open their eyes.
Right. Open your eyes. Because more goods are moving out of the port without paying. I mean, how? 30 million a day? I mean, that's serious money, right?
Yes.
And you can't just sit on and watch things go like that. You heard Mr. Sam Agri, his Executive General Secretary of Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. My name is Enyonam. Today, our conversation was tailored towards looking into what this association does for industries and also for other businesses that are, you know, part of the association, what they've been doing during this COVID-19 time, and what do we do to sustain our businesses even after COVID-19? There's a lot going on. There might be a part 2 of this interview, but for now, we'll wrap it up all here. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Enyonam. Many thanks to my sponsors. Until then, it's a bye for now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This is the COVID greeting.